Yeah, I welcome to the multifamily deal room, not shark pool anymore, the deal room. Now, the purpose of this show is actually becoming multiple folds. Right now, it's kind of like Shark Tank, but we actually a little better, right? So we do multifamily deals. And the purpose of the show to have investors just like you be able to invest, get a confidence, and so forth in a deal, so that way you can invest in these deals so forth, right? And now a lot of change have been happening so far. And we're back. We're coming back and make things back stronger. So I want to kind of get some updates of what's happening. The platform now, we are getting a crowdfunding portal. Now what that does is that will allow you to raise up to 5 million more. That means that you can be a credit investor or not credit investor. And from the show, you can actually invest in deals and help you raise capital. So with that said, I need to help. I need y'all help by bringing more deals, so that way we fund more deals and make this platform bigger and better and better. My name is Cornelius Cannon. Y'all feel free to I see y'all. I email all y'all to be here. So glad y'all be here. Feel free to share the information. So and the information you see tonight, these are the idea of investing, because of we all say that I wish I would know now what I know 10 years ago. We kind of don't. So the best way to do it is actually learn from people who are actually 10 years ahead of you. So what we do, we have a panel of people who experience. Now these people who has invested in family themselves. Now, so the advice that that means that you can sit back and listen to see how will a person who 10 years advancing you, how a person who been on 17 LP deals, how would a hedge fund manager be able to invest? So that way you become more smarter and more confident as an investor and do more deals as a community. So first up, I want to introduce I do understand these are opinions, so we're not advisors, so feel free to do your own due diligence on these deals as well. And feel free to actually, now these are real deals with real people. So I ask you, feel free to contact them and actually get involved in their deals, okay? So first up, we have my man, Joseph. Joseph, can you tell me about who you are and how you can help? Wait, hold on. I have to bring my sound effects. Go ahead, Joseph, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I'm Joseph Bronte, CEO of Truck Real Estate Partners, also the founder of the Passive Investing Academy and author of the Passive Investors Playbook, a guide to winning at multifamily. Been doing this for the last 12 years, engineer by trade, got into the multifamily game back in 2011. We've done about 375 million in total transactions. And yeah, we have 14 deals under our belt. We're doing 2 developments right now. Yeah, that's me.
Outstanding so much. Thank you so much, man. Next up, we have Irish Kevin. How you doing, Irish Kevin? Hold on. Can I do this? Can I do this one? Hold on.
Yes, sir. CC, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, what are we doing instead of fins? Are we doing anything for the deal room?
Man, it's up to you. How you want to do it?
Dollar sign. How do you do the dollar sign? What's up, multifamily deal room? Yo, the deal roomers.
The deal room. The deal makers. We the MF deal makers. The deal makers. The MF deal makers.
I'm going from baby boomer to WFH generation, work from home.
Oscar, tell about who you are and how you can help your experience.
So let you know, I do have underwear on, but not pants, okay? Anyway, I'm a co-GP, KP, LP in very, very vetted deals, very well vetted deals. Texas, Florida, Carolinas. Looking for more, always looking a partner. I like to be a KP guy because maybe I'll get paid on the side. But I do have dry powder, like probably a lot of you people in the room, and hopefully soon we'll get it out there to work again. So Charles is going to enlighten us on his deal in Texas, right?
Yeah, yep. Charles.
And we got a development deal. So I'm looking forward to both. And any guys want to reach me outside of the deal, I'm very, very well known on LinkedIn, like Joseph here. We're like just constantly pounding the computer. Thanks, guys.
Outstanding. Next up, we have that dude, Charles. How are you, Charles? You there?
I'm well. Good to see you all back again. I see some friendly faces. There's Rick Ward, man. Rick, good to see you, buddy. Nice to see you. And also Moses. Moses is always good to chime in on. Good to see you all. My name is Charles Dobbins. I'm the founder of the MultiFamily Investing Academy and the creator of the MultiFamily OS system. We are having our first post-COVID get together down in Fort Lauderdale, and also we're doing a hotel to apartment conversion summit in Chicago at the end of the summer. I am, I've been involved in over close to $2 billion since over the 15 years that I've been in this business. I've seen it all. I've been through real estate cycles. I know what the good, the bad, and the ugly happens. And I know that bad things are about to happen. But man, it's a great opportunity to be in the multifamily business right now. So it's where other people are rushing out. This is where the likes of what's that guy's name? That Buffett guy. This is the type of scenario that he runs into. And I know exactly why, because I was on the wrong side of a couple of cycles. And this time, like Irish Kevin said, I got my powder dry and I'm ready to rock and roll. So
Outstanding. So we got money on the table, ready to invest. All right. So now that you know about us, we want to know about you. So the moment we about to see some things pop up on the screen, ask a couple questions about what we want to know about you. So the first question we want to ask is, where are you at currently in your investing journey? Right? Are you just getting started? You're knowledgeable? You ready to buy some properties? You own a couple properties? You consider yourself an expert? Are you a vendor? Where are you at in your investment journey? We just want to know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's stop the poll. Bam, and share results. All right, got some people. All right, so we got some people just getting started. Some people knowledgeable. We got some people. A lot of people looking for some portfolio. Outstanding. All right, it's good to hear. Next question. Right now, we always say, I want to know why you come here. Right. So some people come for a different. So why you come here? Why'd you come to this event? Okay. If things pop up, are you coming looking for some deals? Are you coming looking to you need to find some capital? Are you looking to gain some knowledge? Or are you looking for your soulmate? Good old-fashioned soulmate.
I've already met Kevin.
Good old-fashioned soulmate.
Love at first sight.
Indeed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, we're getting up there. We got 13% this time. Holla at your boy. Share results. We have a couple people here looking to find some deals, find some capital, people looking to gain some knowledge, and also people looking to find a soulmate. Outstanding. All right, next question on the board. Okay. Now we all know it's not about what you know, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you and what they know you for. So the question is, what do we know you for? How can you help other people out, right? How can you help people out? Can you help find deals? Can you help find capital? You're not sure how you can help, or you can help be that lost soulmate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Impose and share results. All right, we got a couple people can help find capital. A couple people looking for capital, looking for very knowledgeable, outstanding, and we got 8% next soulmate. Okay, well, kind of struggling there. What's gonna make it happen? All right, next up. All right, now let's go to our show. The show about to begin. So first up, we have my man Mike Angelo. Are you ready, Mike? Are you there?
I'm here, sir. How are you?
Outstanding, my good man.
This is a hell of a crowd. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Mike, Angelo, guys, super honored to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I can share my screen if it's ready to go.
Go right ahead, man. Ready to go. So what's going to happen is how the show is going to go. Mike will have 15 minutes, 20 minutes to actually do his presentation. Now, after he present, we have we have your feedback, figure out how the deal work for you, and also then go to the deal maker panel. Right? Oh man, hold on, wait, Mike, stop sharing, Mike.
Stop sharing.
Get your pictures.
Yeah, I got my pictures. I got my pictures. Let me see. I forgot my pictures.
No, we can't do fins anymore. What
man, we can do fin. I mean, what can we do? What can we do?
Everybody break out a dollar bill. Oh, short arms.
What can we do? Let's remove the spotlight. Let's get our picture involved.
Show me the money.
I mean, I don't. Hold on. Let's see here. Remove. Oh no, cancel. All right, let's see here. Remove spotlight. All right, my gallery view, my picture, turn cameras on. And what can we do? We can do this. Just sharp frame. What can we do?
I raise my colors.
All right, everybody. Let's see. I get a picture real quick. Hold on. All my people was just. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Bam. Yeah. All right, turn your cameras on for my social media pictures. Yeah. I did make a post. Let's see. The money. Yeah. 5, 4. You did make a post. Your money. Why? 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, outstanding. Feel free to tag me on that, Cornelius Cannon. I look forward to doing this. All right. All right, let's get down to business now. Let's get down to the fun games. All right, let's do this. All right, so I got Spotlight there. Let me see here. Get Joseph back.
I'm here.
Spotlight. Spotlight. Yeah, look at that, boy. We're getting better than the Zoom stuff. Watch out now. Watch out now. All right, Mike, you up? You
Yes,
ready,
sir.
sir? Ready, sir? Outstanding. Go ahead. You ready, sir? Rock and roll. You ready?
I'm ready. Oh, hang on. Whiteboard showed up. I don't know where that's coming from. There we go. Share screen. That's really strange, man. It's not letting me share my try that again.
Do you need to make him the host?
No, it's weird. It went to whiteboard instead of just my desktop. There you go. We'll just do it this way. All right. Let me know if you guys can see this.
We can.
Awesome. Well, let's get going.
Gotcha.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be here. I'm excited for this panel. First time up here presenting. So this is our project, Villas on Rodeo. I'm going to go through, give you guys a quick what we got going, what we're looking to do. There's a whole bunch of stuff about us. I won't spend too much time on that, but I'm a GP. I'm an LP, started as an LP. And, we have about $60 million worth of assets under management, all based in either Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. This is our development project that I'm just super excited to talk about. Charles, you got me thinking about, what's going on in Phoenix. As you mentioned, Phoenix could be maybe a little overheated, but I think this opportunity is still ripe for the making, and it's gonna be a good one. So feel free to fire some questions out. And the standard disclosures, you guys know how that one works. But yeah, this is us. For anyone that has further interest, my QR code is on the left here. So this first one, that's my contact information. If you have interest in this project or anything else, these are all 506C deals. Scan this QR code, it'll take you right to our portal, or you can go right to our website, nimblecapitalgroup.com. All right. This is our project. So this is located in the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, just a little bit south of Phoenix Metro. Lots of pretty pictures to start with to hope we get you going, a little wowing. 176 units, 8 buildings, standard garden style walk up. And what's going on in the city, a lot of folks may not know on a national level, and that's one of the reasons we're really excited about what's going on down here. So this will be the project, lots of amenities. Really, we're targeting, it looks like Class A product, but at the end of the day, our goal is to target the middle market, so that B-class product, which nobody builds because they haven't figured out how to get the cost position correctly. And we're not looking to make a fortune on this thing. We're really targeting that rents right where today's rents are. And that's one of the levers that we really feel is a safe bet for this kind of project. All right, so I'm gonna keep going backwards here. There we go. So quick summary, located in, again, a little bit southern. So between Phoenix and Tucson is a city called Casa Grande. Casa Grande is really the right way to say it. It's about 45 minutes south of this area. And $5 billion plus invested in the last 2 years. And I'll talk a little bit about what's going on in that marketplace for those of you guys that are not familiar. Our team, 30 plus years of development experience, 120 million overall on the team. I mentioned 60 million just from my smaller team, 2,000 plus units under management today. The development side, our developer Brock's built and managed over 6,000 units, bunch of full cycle projects. And, there's lots of noise out there, and I think some of it is very accurate. Some of it is truly just noise. But, what's going on in Phoenix, the Phoenix MSA is seeing a little bit increase in vacancy and some rent decline, but it's really in the Phoenix metro proper. The outskirts are not experiencing any of that, and I'll show you guys the evidence behind that. But we did try to hedge things. We increased our exit cap rate on this project by 100 bips plus. So a 4.5 exit cap, where today's current market's 3.25. We have instant equity in the project today. We bought some dirt. We entitled it for the last year. And so we have instant equity available, again, with an appraisal to back it. And our overall LP returns are pretty phenomenal, 40% average annual return, 29% IRR for those guys that want to know the IRR, or 2.2 equity multiple. So some pretty good numbers. I think they beat value add by quite a bit. And that was one of the reasons that we're super excited about it. So this is what the site looks like right now. City of Phoenix is north of here. I-10 runs right along this corridor, right outside the picture. And it looks like a lot of desert However, this project is filled in. This is a single family community. This project is sold. It's going to be a commercial site. This project just got through the first phase of approvals. It's going to be a build to rent community. And this is our site, 14 acres. We're going to build, like I said, 176 units. So looking down on top of the map there, that same location, we took the corner parcel. That's not part of the project. That's going to be a commercial project. And then the apartment complex will be here. Now, what is this yellow sign? This is one of the coolest, sexiest signs you'll get. The biggest reason development, and I know we have some development experience on the panel here, so please chime in, but one of the biggest areas where projects die is in that entitlement phase. Can I build this thing? Will it get approved? We got planning and zoning full approvals at the end of last year. And so this is our sign that we have up, but full approvals for this site plan. All the entitlements are done. All the utilities are on site, been identified. We have budgets put in place. So the project right now is pending construction documents, which is, we just engaged our architect to develop that. It's about a 3-month window. They'll get those out and then we can get into permitting. So it's as close to shovel ready as you can get. And again, no longer any headwinds from the city or public or any of the planning commission issues. Quick investor highlights, and again, I'll dig into it a little deeper as you guys have questions, but we have 2 classes of investor, B1, B2. Really the difference is we just entice the B1 investor, 150K or 75. And you can see the difference here, 2.2 or 2.3x multiple. The investment is 70-30. So for those of you that are learning and wanting to understand the GP-LP relationship, what this means is if I had $100 of profit, $70 goes to you, the LP, $30 goes to us, the GP. So it's 70-30 split. There's different ratios that are out there. We like 70-30. It seems to be the fairest. Our plan for this project is to build it, lease it, and sell it. We expect about a 24-month build schedule, a 6-month lease up schedule, and a 6-month sell schedule. So 36 months. Nothing ever goes according to plan, as you guys know that. So we built in a 3 to 3.5 year window. If for some reason we can't hit our target exit value, we will lease up the building, hold it, convert the note to perm debt, and hold it for 5 years. And so there'll be some cash flow. A couple things that'll change. If we do hit the 30 IRR, the split does go to 50-50. What does that all translate to? So if I'm a B1, which is that 150K investor, you come in, you earn 195K in profit or equity, you get your 150 back. So those two add up to 345, if my math is correct. So 345,000 or 2.3 equity multiple. And then these are the breakouts of, again, the IRR, the average annual at 3 years, the average annual at 4 years. So again, guys, feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions. This is the same data, but it's with a 100K investor for the B2, which is 75K minimum, but I used 100 because it's easier math for my small brain there. So 120K equity, 100K principal back. Those two make 220 or 2.2x. So it's just a little bit less because of that second tier. Let's talk about the market. So a ton of stuff going on in Phoenix. Again, we hear a lot of stuff in the news. What's changed in Phoenix, and I've been here 10 years, so I came right kind of at the end of the last downturn. In the last downturn, what I will say is Phoenix was known to have one industry, and that's single family residences. That changed in the last 10 years where we are really becoming a tech corridor. Yes, it's happened in Austin, but you have so many California companies moving in. You have a lot of biomed, which isn't even on this deck, between University of Arizona, Arizona State, Banner Health, and Life Biosciences moving in from an education standpoint, looking to recruit talent. They're moving their headquarters here. But on this deck is really related to technology and chip companies. So Intel's been in the marketplace for 30 years. They're building a $20 billion expansion right now. And this site is 35 minutes north of our project, a few thousand jobs, permanent add-ons that they're going to have in place. If you haven't heard of TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Company, they are building their first North American plant. They only have one other plant. It's in Taiwan. And so they invested in North Phoenix. So this is about an hour and change north of our site. But it's a $40 billion job with just 2,000 permanent jobs, but really tens of thousands of jobs that will affect the entire Phoenix metro. And so we feel like this will continue to drive folks into town that are high-tech positions, high-tech roles. And again, there'll be a second tier of blue-collar supporting roles that we believe it's just going to continue to grow there and affect all of the, areas. How does it affect Casa Grande, which again, remember, is 45 minutes south of Phoenix Metro? There's 3 suppliers that I'll show you guys info on. They've already bought land and moved in down in Casa Grande because they're supplying product to this chip supplier as well as Intel. So it just puts us in a great place to be. Hundreds of jobs there. And then Virgin Galactic, if you're at Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic shop, they're setting up shop in Mesa, which is about 45 minutes north of our site. They're going to build rocket ships. So pretty cool to be part of that tech. And for those of you that don't know, Lockheed Martin, north of Grumman, they're also here too. So there's a lot of military technical, or not technical, but high-tech positions here around that front. This is the corridor. So again, Casa Grande just a little bit south, strategically located. I won't spend too much time here, but it's got all of the right logistical locations that we feel is optimal to get to, interstate commerce. Let's dig into Casa Grande specifically. So one of the things, and I know I listen to Neil Bowa a lot, what's the median income? What's the population growth? What's going on in the marketplace from a job standpoint? So kind of 3 factors we look at. Today's current population is 66,000, but the daytime population is 94,000. So this has changed significantly in the last 2 years because of those employers that I'm going to show you some more information about. People drive into this place. So they live far away, they drive into town. Really great average household income. This has gone up almost 20,000 in the last 3 years. It used to be about 63, 64,000, 84,000 now. And you can see the details. This is a chart I'm super proud of. This is from last October, I believe. Yeah, October release. So we had 6 cities in Arizona that hit the national marketplace for fastest growing cities. Casa Grande, you'll see, is number 6 at 6.2% population growth. And this is only factoring in cities over 50,000. So it's not taking like a smaller city and just getting the percentage growth. So really excited about all the kind of fundamental things that you look at or think about when you want to invest in multifamily or any type of project, really. All right, let's talk about employment locally in Casa Grande or Casa Grande. Mentioned, the different industries. Abbott Labs, they've been there. Walmart has been there. But if you've heard of Nikola, they're building the battery truck. Hopefully someday they'll build a hydrogen fuel semi-truck. Solvay, CCP, and Kanto are 3 companies. It's about 300, almost 400 jobs just right there. Those are some of the suppliers for that chip company I mentioned. P&G, may have heard of them. They're Procter & Gamble. They're across the highway there, and they're building a $500 million facility. That's going to be about another 100, 150 jobs. And in the city of Coolidge, which has really nowhere to live. So they're going to live in Casa Grande across the highway. Banner Health, biggest health organization in Arizona. They have a massive location, and it serves, I believe, 300,000 people because it's the center of that area. And so that's the largest emergency center they have located in Casa Grande. And then we're really excited about Kohler, toilet company, or fixture, I shouldn't say toilet company, fixture company. They're moving in June. They built I believe it's a $150 million manufacturing facility. So lots of employment. And again, there's a lot of noise of what's going to, is it going to retract? Is it overpriced? I think Phoenix asset prices are absolutely still overpriced. We are buyers, and we are not buying in Phoenix on what's hitting the market. We're going to be under contract on a standard, value add deal at like 60,000 less than what the market's going for. And that's just because we haggled for 7 months and got the seller down to a reasonable number. But it's tough. This is one of the reasons we thought development would be the right play, because when current asset prices of value add, that's 1970s versus 2025 product, you can build at very similar cost points. You should always build. You're going to end up having a greater margin and really still be very competitive. All right, Lucid Motors. Who's heard of Lucid Motors? Hopefully you guys have. This is what they produce. They have an electric car, so it's Tesla's competitor at this point. All of the VPs and Ps came from Tesla. Pete Rawlinson was like number 3, I think, at Tesla, and he's the CEO of Lucid. You may have heard some negative news. I'm sure someone's going to bring it up, so I'll just beat you to it. There was some layoffs announced yesterday, about, I think it's 1,100, mostly admin staff. It has no impact on their actual manufacturing at this point. They're still on track to deliver more than they delivered last year, and they're also working on an SUV. So we still feel very positive. It's more of a restructuring, and I think it's a temporary component just because there's still a little bit of unknown out there, but they haven't changed any of their estimates at this point, according to Wall Street. And we have a pretty good connection here in Casa Grande with the mayor, and they're connected well with the leadership team here. This is Lucid's plant. And so our site's about 6 miles from here, but this is what's exciting. So this little picture here, you guys see it's 1 million square foot. They're building 3 million square feet. This is battery assembly, paint shop, and there's an R&D section here. So almost 4 million square feet of production right now underway. It's going to be finished. And then they leased another 1,400 acres back from the city for supporting companies to support the EV business, electric vehicle business. So we have a ton of stuff going on, and over the long term, you know, it's going to be a significant amount of investment, not just in Lucid, but also in the city. And they're estimating somewhere around the $32 billion impact over the next 20 years. So Casa Grande's here to grow. I pull this out because one of the other benefits of the investment is we are doing a cost seg, which will happen in 2025. And at that time, it'll be down to, I believe it's 20 or 40% of the full bonus. But because it's construction, we should be able to depreciate the majority of the project. But we're doing a conservative estimate of about 50% off of your investment. So you invest 100K, you get 50% off, or 50% shelter. And I'm not going to dig too far into this, but I do want to show you because I want to be conscious of time. This is our underwriting. The exit cap rate I mentioned is 4.5. We're looking at a value of 434, 430 to 434 per unit as an exit reversion value. And that turns into about $72 million. Our build cost, so we have this all broken out here, sources and uses. So we're targeting a little bit higher LTC right now, but 65%. Construction loan LPs are in for about 30% of that, 18 million. We have contributed ourselves about 1.6 to date. So that's 56 million. And then here's the breakdown of costs from land all the way to overall unit cost, which 319, I think there's a developer on this call. I would love to hear what you're seeing in other markets. We still project this to be under 300K, well under 300, but we put in a couple of layers of contingency on the hard cost, as well as carrying costs, because our carrying costs have obviously gone up. We underwrote the interest rate at 9.5%. We expect right now for that to come in more like 7.25, possibly 8. So that 1% will be, you know, a significant savings there. How do we do some sensitivity analysis? Again, this is the biggest one I like to look at is at the development spread. Exit cap is what we're targeting of 4.5, 2.2. But if it goes all the way to a 5 cap, so the market expands, the values go down, we still see a pretty healthy return. So we felt very, you know, again, these are conservative numbers on the exit valuation, given a correction. I think Phoenix is due for a correction, but I don't feel like it's going to be 40%. I think somebody talked about 40%. It might be 10%, it might be 20%. But by the time this thing gets built, you know, there's no supply. And I'll show you guys the proof of that in this submarket with the amount of jobs moving in. A breakdown by division. I won't go spend too much time, but again, 56 million. These are ROMs, or rough order of magnitude bids. They're not hard actual construction bids yet because we don't have construction docs. So 3 different GCs, put them together. They're all within about 10%. And we added a little bit of buffer there to put this together. So we feel very strongly that the cost will be a little bit less than what you see here. Quick breakdown, 1, 2, and 3 beds. Focused on the 1 beds. They're good size 1 beds. Again, we're targeting that, you know, professional, technical worker possibly. And then again, we do have some family oriented units with a 3-2. This is the breakdown, 1st, 2nd floors. Keep going here. All right, let's talk about comps. This is what's crazy. And again, I'm blown away, but it's because of the supply issue. A 1-bedroom, this property is 30 years old. 1 bedrooms right now, this is as of February last month, $1,488 to $2,300 for 1 bed. $1,822 to $2,822 for a 2-bed. And this is just down the street from our site. This is another project, another property down the street, $1,400, $2,100, $16 to $24, $21 to $3,000. So we took all that data, we communicated with our property managers. So we actually interviewed 2 property managers, and we said, hey, this is our project, this is our build us a pro forma based on today's rents. And so this is what they came back with. and hopefully you guys can see that. We're targeting 1850, 1950, and 2200 in our pro forma in 3 years from now, or 2.5 years from today. So today's rents that we're already achieving or well achieving over, that's our Class B brand new asset rents 2.5 years from today. We expect that there would be some sort of rent increase, but if there wasn't, the returns that you see are based on these numbers. We feel really confident about, hitting those values and hitting those returns. All right. Breakdown of the pro forma. So overall, this is again data from CalCap and NEB, two big companies here that are professional managers that know exactly what lease up looks like and what projections could look like. $6K per door in expenses, but that turns out to be about 24%, which in the marketplace today for a 70s or 80s asset in Phoenix, the overall expense ratio is right around 38 to 39%. Because this is a brand new property, it's going to be much lower. You also have higher revenue streams like managed internet and additional other income, which is fantastic, like valet waste. Never thought valet waste would be a thing, but we're going to offer it, and there's a really good revenue potential there. All right, occupancy. So this is data as of last month. So pretty fresh. Phoenix MSA is seeing 97%, possibly dipped down to maybe 96 today. The submarket, which is where we're targeting here, 97. The actual rent comps, those two rents that I showed you, but there's a couple more, 98%. We targeted 95 as our stabilized occupancy. So this is an Angelo's data. This is from CBRE. Current projects. So this is our site way up here. And you can see there's only 4 current multifamily and or built to rent assets right now under play. There's another 1,000 units in planning, but those are far away from any entitlement phase. So we're ahead of the curve on that. And we feel like this is the area of growth. And you can see lots of empty desert. All this farmland's been sold. This is already commercial here. And so there's all the new growth is right in this space. This is the older part of town. I would say more of a C area. This is a B plus area with newer assets and newer growth. Occupancy for the next couple of years, feeling really good about it, essentially 100%. And same thing with rent growth. It's just going to continue to climb. Again, because of the pressure in the submarket, this is not factoring anything that happens in the Phoenix MSA. It's a specific to Casa Grande. And then population growth. I didn't talk about that too much.
Hey, Mike, could I just interrupt you for 1 second? Can you back up one slide?
Yeah.
Okay, so is this, your source is saying fourth quarter of 2021?
Yeah, that's an old chart.
Yeah, it's very old. Okay. Thanks.
So good idea up there. Good catch. Good catch. No, it's actually from January of 23. I need to update that. And because we paid CBRE twice. So the first time we had them do that at the middle of 2022, and then we just had them do the latest one, and this is what they projected for us. So thank you for that. Apologies for the bad reference, but this is what we're still seeing.
Got about 3 minutes left, Mike.
Yep. I am just about done.
Okay.
Population growth, boom. Diverse trades. So this is a big piece. We're not heavily focused on just tech. If something happens to Lucid, again, we talked about some negative news. There's other diverse industry that's there. And this did not exist in Casa Grande 3 years ago. If I was pitching this deal 3 years ago, I would be like, no way, no how, nothing's going on down there. And literally between the mayor and city council folks attracting these employers, they have changed the face of what's going on down there. So that's what we're super excited about. And this is our, again, 506C offering. I said that earlier on. We're looking to get funding done right, next week, a little bit after. Our target's $5 million for phase 1, and then the balance of the $13 million in the next couple of months as we get moving forward. This is my information. So that's all I got, man. I try to stick to that 20 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mike. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Should I stop sharing?
Yes, sir. 1 minute. Thank you. Oh, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for. Oh man, my sound is not working right. It's okay. Now at the end of this next presentation, Mike will be in the first room. So you have a question directly. Mike, you do have some question in the chat. But before we go there, my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this deal? On a scale of 1 to 10, from your knowledge, how do you rate the deal? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop poll. Papa. And share results. All right, we got some mixed results here. So we got some 10s, some 7s, some 5s, average. So it's good here. All right. Now, second question. I want to know, if you could invest in this deal, how much money would you invest in this deal? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Stop that. Share results. All right. We got some. We got a couple $100,000. Got $700,000, $50,000, 25. So we got some different mixed results. Good deal. Now, a little more serious question. Would you like somebody to reach out to you about this deal? Yes or no? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Come away, Australia. Outstanding. Thank you. So first up, we have my man Joseph. You ready, my man?
Oh man, I get to break the ice.
Break the
All right.
ice. Let's go.
At least now Kevin can't steal all my freaking questions.
Well, you get better. You get better. You're the development guy anyway.
All good, man. Wow. Well, hey, thank you for your time, Mike. So just some general questions out of the gate. I was having a hard time with like the location of it because there was no like map in general. Like I was able to figure out where the comps were on my own, but I couldn't exactly see where the property was in relation to those comps. Were they within? Were they close to each other, or?
Oh, hold on. He can speak. Hold on.
Hey, thanks, man. Joseph, thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's good feedback. Yeah, they're all within 2 miles. So our site's on the northern end of that city, and the comps are within a mile and a half south of that area. So your great point. That's a good tip. I'll update those comps and kind of.
And you could do the same as far as a map for like all the industry you were talking about. If we could see spatially, like where is it in relation to the project?
Yep.
Yeah, that's all super important because like I don't live there, so I don't really have.
Yeah.
I was like searching them as you were typing them in. On the so you're going in cap. I guess so. You bought it, and you said the current market is 3.25.
So
As of
yeah, not our project. What we're
Yeah.
showing, we compared comps of new assets being sold.
So as of now, there's still new assets being sold for 3.25. So they're going in with negative arbitrage on their debt, or how are they
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Huh. What type of construction is this? Is this stick or is there
So
non-combustible?
great question. So we were looking at stick, but we're gonna do cold form steel. So panelized cold form steel. That's part of why we believe the construction timeline is a little bit shrunk, and our costs will be on par because wood and steel, there's still some fluctuation in material costs, but we're looking for cold form steel at this point.
How far along are you? Like, do you have? Are you IFC or what's? I guess not if you're still choosing your type of construction, but is it fully designed or?
No, so construction docs are not complete. Design documents are complete, 100% DD. Yeah, CDs are the next phase.
And so what is your timeline for that?
3 months for completing construction documents, apply for permitting. Our goal is to try to target moving horizontals by end of Q3, which we don't need complete CDs to start moving dirt. We could do that on at risk, but we're going to try to get all of that done to begin infrastructure improvements and horizontal activity.
Cool. So when have you gotten debt quotes yet, or what's your plan on the debt?
Yeah, so we have 3 or 4 actually different lenders right now. We haven't engaged any specific lender, but we've gotten a few different term sheets on the best way to look at that. So I try to paint the worst case scenario, which is at 60 to 65% leverage. And again, I quoted, or I underwrote 9%, but we're targeting 7.5 to 8% on the interest rate for that construction note side.
Okay, you might want to increase that a little bit higher because we're looking at stuff, 8 to 9, even 10. I'm even looking at some 10% stuff on a deal we're doing right now.
Okay.
Your yield on cost, I calculated that at 6.3%. Is that about right?
Sounds about right. That's on. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys like to see on your spread or your yield on cost?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, we're not doing it. We get the as closer to as close to 7 as we can
Yeah.
on these deals. And if you're barely over 6, it gets to be a tight deal. And because I know you're showing a 4.5 exit, so that's a what, 1.8 spread, something like that.
Yeah.
But-
So we did a couple things. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking. Your yield on cost seemed a little bit light. I did see that your construction also seemed a little bit for drive up, construction. I mean, I could build a podium in Houston for cheaper than you're building your drive up. I got quotes at 320 a square foot, and you're almost, and you're at 280, I think, a square foot on your drive up. I'm doing a drive up for 160 a foot right now.
Yeah, so we definitely have some room to adjust there, and this was one of the trade-offs of, how do we put this out to market today without the hard bid? And again, as we get the 3 ROMs, that's where they were coming in at, which we believe it's somewhere around 280 to 290 a square. It costs a little bit more. I know guys are building in Houston for actually the George Brew from Elevate. I think he's under that $200 a square mark. I don't know if that's just pure labor costs, but that is as good as we believe, but we still think there's some margin there, which should improve our overall yield.
Okay. And then what about, is there any concern around the water issue there? That's all I hear about is, there's major water shortage issues. You got Howard Hughes, they just had their $800 million project canned. It was like 500,000 houses or something they were building that just got shut down because they didn't get their water permit issued to them.
The water certificate, or assurance of water supply. Yeah, so there's a lot of wrong information out there around Arizona specific water management. Since the 1950s, the water management resource has really spent a lot of time making sure that Arizona would not run out of water. So assured water, we have the assured water certificate. We don't need the 100-year guarantee because we're building multifamily. If we did single family, yes, we would. I was with the mayor yesterday, and we spent a lot of time just confirming, hey, we have other sources. So even affluent water usage gets factored into our overall water demand. And today, with almost 8 million people in the Phoenix metro, we're using about the same amount of water that we did in 1960. So there's a lot of conservation plans. And part of our project, which is a cost, is every new project not just has retention basins, but retention tanks. You have to put in underground tanks, and I don't know if that's popular in other parts of the country, but no issues with water, to be honest. Actually, it's one of those things you can check off the box. We don't have to worry about water.
Who did the underwriting for it, for the deal?
Combination. So I did the underwriting, but we obviously got leverage or input from our contractors, our development manager, Brock, as well as, and I didn't get to talk about Brock much, as well as our contractors.
Is that a model from Adventures in Commercial Real Estate that I saw?
Yeah. Yep.
I thought I recognized that format. So yeah, I would like to have seen just a little bit more detail on the underwriting and what your projections were kind of per year. I just saw the 3 columns there, which kind of left a lot to be desired. You didn't talk too much on on your income side, you had an internet play there. You're doing some managed internet, which is a pretty big driver, 160,000 a year. Have you done that at other properties there in that market?
So I haven't. Our PM has. I was shocked when she said, when I saw the pro forma, so everything you saw, well, I didn't share the actual pro forma, the original pro forma, I took everything down by 10% on the income front. But that is something they're achieving. And it's again, surprising to see valet waste, managed internet as options for the middle market. Really, you kind of see that in, I would say, Class A product. But yeah, they're executing and they're able to get those rents. So we felt pretty good about that.
Okay. And then no concessions?
We didn't do any other like lease up concessions or anything now.
But at sale, you don't think you'd have concessions when you're operating?
No, that's not true. We do have concessions built in. It's in my underwriting, and I don't have the number memorized, but yes, we do have that.
Okay, because it's not on your thing. It's not shown here that there's any concessions.
They just didn't put it into the pro forma or into the deck. I was trying to keep the deck light, if that's fair, so that for most folks it'll go like this. But I have it available for anyone that wants to see the underwriting. we're not.
Oh,
we're
Mike,
not-
if you get a chance, can you put your link to onto the deck information as well?
yeah.
So reach out to you in the chat.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
appreciate that, man.
Outstanding. Good deal. Irish Kevin, you up, my good man? You ready, my good man?
I'm sorry, but Joe stole all my questions. Ali, you're up. So, let's talk about the desert in Phoenix, man. I'm like sitting here sweating my bullets off here. So I won't have to ask that question again. But the best part about that was the coolest, sexiest sign. I like that part.
Yes.
And that being said, like, how far are we away from permits?
I would say we are 5 months from permits from today.
5 months. And then when do you start digging holes?
10 months.
10 months?
Yeah, I would, and nothing ever goes perfect. We have a great relationship with the building department, but they follow things to the letter of the law. So, or when they say 30 days for comments, it's 30 days for comments. And I've taken try to sweeten the pot, but yeah, not yet. So 10
Well, in
months.
10 months, I'm going to call you and say, hey, Mike, when's my first distribution?
Yeah, no, that won't happen.
It won't happen at distribution, or
No, so
I'm
because
going to wait for the seal then, right?
you got to wait for the sale. So that was one of the questions: is hey, is there a pref? There's not a pref in this deal. It's a development deal, so there's no cash flow coming out of the asset until we lease it up. At lease up, we will have some cash flow because we'll have some income coming in. It's not in the projections because it's just, are we leased at 20% when we sell? Are we leased at 40% when we sell? There's a bit of a gray area there. So we targeted full value, but we didn't work in cash flow.
All right, so I don't have to pull the hair out of my head when I have to wait for distribution. That's good. What do we got in the, like, as far as like right now, like being built, and then what's in the pipeline in that area?
Great question. It was a partial share there. It was about 400 units in some sort of construction. Most of that today is built to rent. So if you guys are familiar with the built to rent model, single family homes, right? A lot of that going up. One multifamily project is ahead of us, about a mile from us. It's 136 units. And then our project is the next from a entitlement prep standpoint. And then about another 1,000 units in planning. So 4 or 5 projects is all they have right now. There's like 9,000 in some level of interest, but they have no actual activity yet, right? Just like across Phoenix, we have so many under that have been shelved probably too, right?
Yeah. And how close are we to the airport, Phoenix?
We are an hour from the airport.
An hour? That's about as far as I want to drive, especially if I'm with Charlie. How'd you,
Talking about Charlie Seaman.
what's up with the discounted land? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so we bought that land last January. We negotiated with the seller for quite some time. And again, Joseph, you can chime in, but there's a whole thing about land basis per unit. And so we were told and targeted that, hey, if you can be under 40,000-ish per unit for your land basis, that you're in good shape. We got this at under 20,000 a unit, putting in 176 units. Just basically some negotiation and over time we improved the property. We just got the appraisal back. We paid 2.8 for the property. Today's appraisal entitled is over 4.4 million. So that's today as of last week. So even though the market has definitely softened, land prices are usually the first thing to hit the crapper, as they say, right? Because we entitled it, we feel, and our appraisers clearly feel, that we're in a better position because of that entitlement work.
And then if you get the permits, you can sell it off and make some good money.
And that could be too. Yeah, we'd love to build it because we really want to contribute to the housing challenge. But at the end of the day, it's taking care of our investors. So if that's the best play, then that's what we do.
So you more build and hold, or you're not more like a merchant builder, right?
This project is a build and sell, but it will springboard us into build and hold, which is really what we want to do, even on our value add deals. Build and hold as long, 5 years plus, if not longer, refinance out, return capital, and keep going.
Good stuff. I'll pass it on to Charlie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you all. So now remember now, this every deal is for somebody else. Go ahead, Ray Charlie.
All right. So Mike, what do you mean you don't do a preferred return on ground up construction? Don't you do full rehabs? Don't you give 9% preferred returns like all these other syndicators do? I mean, geez. No, I know. Yeah, good. It means you're experienced. Okay, so do you own the land now?
You.
You do. Okay. So, you guys, what do you take a loan out for it, or how'd you?
Oh, we used equity. So $1 million so we spent almost 500,000 in entitlement work. We bought the land I mentioned for 2.8. We have a note on it for 1.4 right now. We're paying that off with equity. As we raise equity, we're paying off the note. And the goal is to get about 5 million in equity so we can start that horizontal work. We don't need to get all 18 million to begin work. So as we get equity in, we're literally putting it to work and improving the asset, which will actually help us when we do get that construction loan locked up. We hope interest rates will settle a little bit, but also we'll have a better leverage position because we've been further improved the asset.
All right. Now, you've mentioned that you got a couple of other properties that seem to be in the same position, like one in Pine Top and another one, a 15-acre one in Casa Grande. Where do those stand right now?
So this is the 15-acre parcel in.
Okay, then you had another one in Casa Grande that was.
Yeah, if you looked up our website, yeah. So we have a redevelopment.
No, that was on your presentation.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, in our bio, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have so we're all in for Casa Grande. We have a smaller retail redevelopment deal. That's a 506B, so I can't talk a whole lot about it, but I could talk a little bit about why we believe it's a good overall business. And then Pine Top, we're doing a development deal up there as well, which is in the mountains, 6,000 feet. We're doing a single family development there.
Okay, so the two that you have in Casa Grande, this is the 15-acre one, but what about the 176 units in planning? I thought that was this one.
That's this one, yeah. So we bought the land and we put that in development.
So wait a minute. So you got land 15 acres in Casa Grande, and then you've got 176 units in planning in Casa Grande.
Same project.
Okay, you got them listed twice there under your combined experience. So that was what was throwing me off. I got to tell you, the credit on ground right now on construction is really tightening up. I mean, I agree with the other gentleman, Bramante, that talked about 10%, much higher rates and a higher risk. I mean, have you seen that yet? I mean, you haven't talked about Eric Stewart and his role in this.
I'm waiting for you to ask, man.
But yeah, let me tell you a story, okay? But tell me, like, right now, deals are going to start to cave because of they're so early in the phase that the banks are just cutting back on credit right now. And have you seen that? Is that a concern for you?
It's a small concern, but we've been talking to some of these lenders for over a year. Eric is obviously very engaged in his value add side, and we're one of his key strengths. So for those of you guys that don't know Eric Stewart, he's a loan broker, Atlantic Business Capital. I'll plug him. He was our key sponsor on our first deal, helped us really get into the business, and he's an awesome dude. We're leveraging his experience, of course, but we've talked to Meridian, Lumint, all these big houses who've changed their models almost overnight, probably about 3 months ago, where they would do, first position and then even mezz. They'd consider mezz is gone, not going to get mezz anymore. We were targeting 85% originally on loan to cost. We're down to 65, right?
Yeah.
Just yesterday or 2 days ago, sorry, we engaged another broker that's got a great connection with FHA. FHA is a little cumbersome. It's a longer process for construction, but they do one higher leverage as long as you kind of fit the box of, hey, this is market rate apartments. I think there was a question up there of, what's the AMI up there or the average median income? All of that factors in, but we can get better leverage position there. But that's a little bit because we have time. That's something we're going to consider. But yeah, it's changed. It's changing daily. But we figured, again, we are, and I've talked to, if you guys know Ken McElroy, he's a local developer here. I asked him, I said, hey, what would you do in this position? Because things are changing literally day by day. And I said, this is my plan. What do you think? He said, I would use equity to further improve the asset, like horizontal work, let the dust settle and you'll get your lenders, keep them engaged as to what you're doing, and you'll get these guys on board. If we were to buy raw land today and try to do that, there's no lender that's going to come to our market, especially because, again, Casa Grande is 45 minutes out from Phoenix, right? So they're going to feel a little bit sensitive about that. But yeah, we're aware and we're plugging away at that.
All right. So when I look at you were giving some numbers about the number of starts going on right now. CoStar's got Phoenix at 34,000 units under construction. It's got the annual rent increase at -2%, and I've seen that in a couple of different places. And it's also got the let me 9%, 9% on the vacancy. And you're saying that that's Phoenix Metro and that doesn't impact what you guys are doing.
100%.
Really? Okay.
And again, it's not Angelo speaking. This is we have CalCap and MEB own assets in that market in Casa Grande specifically. They're 100% occupied, 99%, right? They're basically 100% occupied because folks need to have somewhere to live. They have nowhere to go. A data point is Lucid Motors was targeting to bring people in. They have no housing to put them in. Single family rental, you name it. There's just no product there. And so what are they doing? They're moving to Chandler, which is the next city. I live there. It's, still 30 minutes away or so. That's where they're going to. The Phoenix Metro has seen that. Your numbers, I think they're accurate. The Phoenix Metro is feeling like proper Metro. There's I think another 30,000 units coming online next year. So they'll feel.
No, I tell you, I think that you're taking on big risk, but with big risk comes big reward. And this is you seem like I don't know you from Adam. You sound like you've got your stuff together. And Eric Stewart, I'm surprised you're not plugging him more. That guy helped me get started in the multifamily business, and everybody else here, Atlantic Business Capital, tracked down Eric Stewart. He's a great guy. He got me some loans back when, before the last crash, and during the crash. He's a magician. And let me close with a story about Eric Stewart. I was asked to be an expert witness on a multifamily deal. It was a breach of contract case, and it was down in Washington. So in order to prep for the case, I wanted to get all my ducks in a row. And one thing we had to show was that because of the deal, because of the information that the seller had given to the buyer, there was no possible way anybody would have given a loan on this deal. So I sent the information to Eric, and Eric came back with a declination letter, which is what we needed to go into court with. And so while I'm on the witness stand, the opposing counsel starts to question me about this Eric Stewart guy and how well do I know him and what all this stuff. And then he goes on and he starts saying, do you realize that Mr. Stewart is not licensed as a mortgage broker in Florida? And I'm sitting on, and I thought I nailed it. I thought I was a great witness. And then all of a sudden the guy starts poking holes in these emails from this Eric Stewart guy. And like, no, I did not. I did not know. He got me mortgages, so he's fine by me. I get off the witness stand. I go out into the halls of justice where all the justice is done, and I call Eric and I say, Eric, what the hell, man? Why the guy just had me on the witness stand and said you weren't licensed to do mortgages in Florida. And he goes, yeah, I'm a commercial mortgage broker. We don't need licenses. I'm like, oh, damn. And I wanted to get back on the witness stand to go back at that attorney, but time was up. So, one of the things, I was down at a conference in Florida with a bunch of bankers. They say the thing that is getting done today are based upon the strength of the sponsors. I think you got good sponsors in there. And this one, I'm leaning more towards yes now than I was before. I liked the numbers. I like your confidence in the deal. So that's good job. Good deal.
You just got one more question, Joseph?
One quick one. I just want to understand your current capital structure.
Wait, no, I thought he said no further questions. No further questions, Your Honor. Yeah, I'm sorry. The jury is out, Joseph.
One question. Humble me. So it was because of something that Kevin mentioned. You're not breaking ground for 10 months. So why are we raising money right now?
So again, we got to be able to get the first phase of equity, and we still want to engage our lender by summer. So that's why we're looking. Obviously, we got to deposit, 10 to 12 million bucks into them, plus the 5 or 6 million that we already contributed to the deal. So that's typically how the construction side works. And I'm using 10 months as a long. I mean, November is not 10 months away. It's 7 months away, right? We're in April. Yeah, 7 months, but 10 months. Things never go on time. You guys know this in the construction space. So I'd rather tell you a longer window and surprise you with. But there's still a chance that this deal doesn't get done, and so
the way we typically structure, and a lot of other developers do, is you get what's called the pre-construction fund or the pre-construction money. And that does come with the pref. Ours is like a 14% pref for 12 months.
Wow.
But then outside of that, then you break ground and you take those guys out, and then you bring in the rest of your money. Because this period until you break ground, that's the riskiest. Until you've got permits in hand and you're ready to turn dirt, it's very high risk right now. Once you turn dirt and you build, the risk is mostly gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my concern there.
That's great feedback, Joseph. And I think if we broke that first pre-construction phase into two, entitlement being probably the most risky, and then this next piece being, again, if we can get construction documents done, there's no reason we'd get held up on permits at this point because they've approved everything thus far. And we've identified utilities and all that other kind of good stuff. But yeah, I agree. And I like that model. We didn't have the input to model it that way. So this is the route we went. It's a more expensive route because bringing in LPs now, you start the higher return process today versus 6 months from now.
All right, good deal. Thank you so much for getting a deal. So your information is actually in the chat as well, but Michael will be in break room number 1. So thank you, Michael. So next up we do have one more deal for the night. So one more deal. One more deal.
Hey, Tom Higgins, we talked about the pref. You don't do pref on a property that has no income. I mean, he could do it on the back end, but it's a sweetheart deal.
We're doing a 10% pref on our new development deal.
Oh, with no income coming in.
No income coming in.
Oh, so you're just accumulating it on the back end.
Yeah, you can do pref on new dev.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I'd much rather have you plow that money back in. So,
yeah. But it's risk. I mean, it's a riskier deal, so you have to compensate them. Every developer I know has a pref on their deals.
Wow.
Good deal. Next up, got 2 Charles in the house. 2 Dos Amigos.
Hey guys, Charles Seaman here. I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see, and we'll dive right into it. And I'm also going to put a link in the chat box if anybody wants to follow along. It'll be the same presentation, so you guys are welcome to pull it up on your end as well.
Outstanding. Good deal.
Okay, so we're going to start here with Park Valley Apartment Homes and its indicator where it's greater, which is part of the Atlanta MSA. So 236 unit, 1971 build property, and this is existing, existing C-class property, and it's a value add opportunity. And a brief disclaimer for anybody who wants to take a moment to read that. And similar to the prior deal, this is also a 506C for accredited investors only. So we'll start with the market. For anybody unfamiliar with the Atlanta market, it's seen plenty of growth in the last decade, and there's plenty more growth expected over the coming decade. So some of the things that we like about the Atlanta market is the economic diversity. And we also like that there's a lot of different spots that provide prosperity for the region, one of which is the airport. So it has the busiest airport in the world for at least the last 23 consecutive years. And that airport is seeing further growth because you have a project called 6 West that is further expanding the footprint of the airport and also creating additional jobs. From some of these statistics here on the slide, you can see there's a lot of different publications that rank Atlanta very high for many things, many of which are different types of economic indicators. So in this slide here, you can see that there's many of the largest companies that we're familiar with throughout the nation that have major presences in the Atlanta market. You see companies here like Microsoft and Google and Airbnb and Toyota, not to mention some that aren't here with logos, but they're highly represented in the Atlanta market like Coca-Cola, UPS, and Home Depot, which are all headquartered there. So there's a lot of diversity, a lot of Fortune 500 companies, a lot of Fortune 100 companies, and that'll lead to a strong economy with a lot of diversity in that market. On this slide, you can see some of the major employers that are in the market. So Delta Airlines, not too surprising, being that they have the busiest airport in the world in that region. You can see Home Depot, which is headquartered there. You can see Publix and Kroger, both of which are retail supermarkets. You can see some healthcare, and you can see telecommunications as well. The property itself. So we'll talk about some of the specs, and we'll talk about what we like about the property and what gets us excited about the opportunity. So the property is 236 units. It has good floor plans with a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. The average unit size is 883 square feet, and it has 14 residential buildings with a 15th building that's used as a leasing office and clubhouse. So the photograph you see on this slide is actually of the leasing office and clubhouse. And one thing you'll notice is that aesthetically, the property is quite attractive. So as you drive up to the property, it certainly has nothing that really turns potential tenants off as they go in and they see the surroundings. So even though it's a 1971 property, the property's had a lot of money invested into it. And the seller acquired the property in 2020. Since that time, they put $3.3 million into it. And you can see that it has a full amenity set comparable with many newer assets. You know, it has a dog park, it has a fitness center, it has package lockers, has a swimming pool. So these are all things that are prevalent in newer communities, and it's certainly a very competitive amenity set to those communities. You can see an aerial photograph of the property here that shows the swimming pool and also shows some of the landscaping on the property. So the property is very spread out. Two things that you can't see in the photograph is what's on the side of the property. So on one side, you have new townhomes that are being developed, which is a sign of gentrification that's coming to the area. And on the other side, you have the interstate, I-20, which has 142,000 vehicles per day going down it. Even though you're right next to the interstate and you have the convenience of that transportation being close by, what you don't have is a lot of noise. And it may be surprising, but when you're on the property, being that it's so spread out and being that you have a lot of trees, it really drowns out a lot of the noise that comes from the interstate. And then you have the interior. So the seller has already upgraded 229 of the 236 units. So a lot of the heavy lifting has been done. And that doesn't mean we don't have any CapEx. There's definitely CapEx. It is still a 1971 property. But what it means is that there's opportunity to focus on operations and be able to go in there and start closing the gap with rents with where they are at comp properties in the area. So you can see a photograph here of one of the interiors. You can see the newer flooring, and you can see the stainless steel appliances and the white cabinets. So many of those things prevalent in a lot of newer communities throughout the Southeast at this point. And you can see some more photographs of the property. So the top three up here, these are all different interiors you can see. And then the bottom two are the leasing office and clubhouse. So the leasing office and clubhouse is actually 2 stories above ground and 1 below. And it has a fitness center in there along with a full recreation area. So that way tenants have spaces to utilize and to congregate. Then what do we like about the deal aside from that? So the single biggest thing we like about this deal is debt. And there's obviously a lot of changes in the debt market over the last year. There'll probably be some more changes over the coming year. So this deal has a loan assumption, and that's really the key to it and what makes it quite attractive. So it has a little bit less than 9 years left on it. It has a 3.48 interest rate. Let me repeat that, 3.48% interest rate. And the LTV at the purchase price we have it on the contract for is just shy of 79%. So I'm not sure about you guys, but it's been about 2 years since I've seen an 80% or close to 80% loan from Fannie or Freddie. That gets me excited. I like that. The second thing I like is that the deal's cash flowing right out of the gate. So in year one, like any deal, there's going to be some operational improvements that have to be made. So we're not telling you there's going to be a 10% cash on cash return in year one. But what will happen is you're going to see, definitely north of a 6% in year one. Now, let me give some reassurance here. So something else we like about it is the safety net this deal comes with. So being that it has long-term fixed rate debt at a very attractive rate. So let's say that all these income assumptions we make in our projections are wrong. I don't think they are, but let's say that they're terribly wrong. And we only do the same income the seller has now. And we still increase the taxes, we increase the insurance, and we increase the repairs and maintenance because the seller's currently capitalizing a lot of those items. So if we did that, you'd still be at a 6.04% cash on cash return in year one. That gives us a lot of comfort. And the third thing, as I already mentioned, is that the sellers put a lot of money into it. So they've invested heavy CapEx. There's still CapEx we're going to do, most of which is going to be on the exterior and in the common area of the properties. But it's not something that's going to prevent us from being able to push rents as leases expire right away. So the way we're structuring this deal, you may notice on the bottom here, it says 7, 8, or 10% preferred return. And the reason for that is because we have different investor classes. So the classes are delineated by the amounts that people invest, and the structure of the deal allows for a 7% preferred return for anybody who invests from 100,000 up to 249,999, an 8% preferred return for anybody who invests 250 up to 499,999, and 10% for anybody greater than that. So in this slide here, we can see the loan details. We already discussed these a little bit more on the previous slide. One thing that I didn't mention there was the interest only. So aside from having plenty of time left on the term, there's interest only through the beginning of 2025. So that allows us to capitalize on that and get the benefit of that as we're taking over and really sprucing up operations. And then on this slide here, we have our CapEx. So you'll notice quite a few items. We already completed our due diligence inspection. That was done on February 22nd, 3rd, and 4th. And we had it led by our third-party property management company, and they had somewhere between 30 and 40 vendors out to visit the property in that 3-day span. So you'll notice the biggest item in the CapEx here is foundation work. Don't be alarmed by that. Nothing overly concerning. Much of it really pertains to vapor barriers, which are moisture related. And the roofs and gutters, even though that's the second largest item. So the sellers already put some money into that. They've reshingled all the roofs at the property, but we have to do the boots and we have to do the soffits. Those were things that weren't done, or at least not done properly. So we want to make sure they are done. And then you'll notice beyond that, there's just little odds and ends, sealing and striping the parking lot, creating a laundry room. So some of the units on the property do have actual washer dryer appliances. Many of them don't. They do have connections, but not appliances. So the idea is to create a laundry room on the property so that way tenants who don't have appliances still have somewhere to go on the property for laundry. And also dusted on lighting. That's something we feel is very important, just to make sure we keep the right type of crowd at the property. The more lighting you have at nighttime, the less crime you have. There's a direct correlation with that. So we want to make sure that's focused on. So the next 3 slides are going to be the T12. We're not going to sit here and go item by item, even though I'm sure that may be amusing. We're not going to do that tonight for the benefit of time. But if you wanted to take a peek at them, they are in there and you can go through them and look through them yourselves on that. So on the underwriting, let's talk about this and go through some of the assumptions we have. So right now, today, the average rent at the property is $1,133 per month. So in year 1 and year 2, we are factoring in a value add bump. And the reason we're doing that is because the seller's already done the heavy lifting. They're not an operator. That's not the game they play. They go in there, they do heavy lifting, and there's meat on the bone with the operations. Now, the numbers that we're projecting to hit are still less than where comps are today. And even if rents were to decline a bit and go back, we would still be in a good enough position where we'd be far enough away from the leaders in the area that I'm not overly concerned with that. In terms of annual escalations, you'll notice we are 0% in year 1, 2% in year 2, and then 3% for each year thereafter. And you'll notice for our expense escalators, we're at 3% for all 5 years. On the vacancy, between both physical and economic, you'll notice we're at 18% in year 1, and that gradually scales down, going to 10% in year 2, reducing to 8% in years 4 and 5. So in year 1, we are factoring in a higher insurance premium. We have an indication at this point with the high side in the 170s. So we went with 186,440 just to be conservative. We have a tax bill that, we're factoring in reassessment right away. So we have that built into year 1. And we also have a hefty repair and maintenance and turnover budget just because we want to make sure there's plenty of money to run the property. And on this slide here, you can see what it would look like if somebody went to invest $100,000. So in year 1, you'll see in the 3rd row down, it says member cash flow. They would receive cash flow of approximately $6,200. And you'll see over the next 4 years, that goes as high as 11,200 and as low as 8,400. And with that cash flow, that's typically paid out in quarterly distributions. So that would be paid out, in those quarterly amounts. Then further down here, you'll see in the middle, it says net proceeds or profits from refinance or sale. So you receive approximately a $55,000 return on that, assuming a 5-year hold period. And that would amount to an average annual return of 20.27%. And it would also have an equity multiple just north of 2. So what services do we provide for asset management? So the first one is due diligence. Now, that's really been done already. So we had our team out there with the property manager and the vendors to conduct that. So that's what we're through. Updates. You'd expect to receive monthly updates. So the monthly updates will include both financials and also updates on property improvements and CapEx. And the quarterly update will be a little more detailed. So you'll get a more thorough package that'll have more reporting in there. Site visits. So, sometimes it will be our team members, sometimes it'll be the asset manager specifically, but we're going to make sure that the property manager is executing the plan we put out. And part of that is going to the property and checking on it. So we'll be doing that as well. We're also going to be meeting with the management company on a regular basis. So normally with most of our assets, we do have weekly asset management meetings. We communicate with the property manager regularly, and especially as things are first being taken over, we want to make sure that the ship is moving in the direction that we want it to. So always being in control of that. And cost segregation. So we are going to take advantage of that. We are going to have a cost segregation vendor go in there and do a study once we close on the deal. And that way everybody will be able to get the benefit of that right away. So some information on the team. So I'm part of Cash Flow Champs, and we're the sponsor on the deal. For me, Charles Seaman, I do the underwriting and the asset management, so I usually oversee those areas. Paul Senior and Prashant Kumar both do investor relations, so they head that up for our team. Ryan Murphy's general business operations, and Brian and Christian do a combination of marketing, branding, and social media. And they also do a little bit of work with us on the acquisition side. On the right side, you'll see we've been in 17 deals to date. 7 of which are full cycle, actually 8. We sold one earlier this week, so we have to update that. And we have just over 1,600 units under management currently, with about $146 million in assets under management. You'll notice at the very bottom that the assets owned, many of them are in the states that are in the Southeast, because that's really our primary focal point where we aim to acquire more properties. And specifically what the slide doesn't say is we've actually had 4 full cycle deals in the Atlanta market, so it's a market we know well. And the returns on those full cycle deals range from a 19% average annual return on the low side all the way up to 37%. So it's a market that we've had success in. It's a market that we feel very comfortable in. And it's a market that we're happy to do more and more deals in. So on this slide here, one thing that's worth talking about is this deal has a preferred equity piece to it. Some people may be intimidated by that. I'm actually going to give you some encouragement. So the encouragement I would tell you is this is a very large company. As you can see on the slide here, Green Street Trust International has roughly $5 billion of assets under management at the current time. They've committed to invest $5 million in this particular deal. One of the reasons that we like the pref equity piece is it's what allows us to give a higher return to the investors. So without the pref equity piece, the investor return would only be approximately 17% on the average annual return. With the pref equity in there, being that they're taking a lower return than the common equity for the LPs, it actually enables us to give a higher return, which would be slightly north of 20%. So something worth mentioning. And then also we have our property management company. So we're using AFI, which is Alexander Forest Investments. They're headquartered in Columbia, Missouri, and they do manage other properties throughout the state of Georgia. They've managed in Atlanta in the past, but nothing else there currently. And they manage over 7,000 units nationwide at the current time. We've heard good things about them from several different investors. First time that we're actually working with them, but we have high hopes. And what they really specialize in, what they seem to be strong in from most people I've spoken with, is the ability to attract the right tenant base through the marketing and the SEO they do. And that's one of the specialties and one of the reasons that we're choosing to hire them. So why don't we open up for questions? I have my contact info here, and we certainly encourage anybody to reach out if you have any questions or any interest.
Outstanding, my good man. Outstanding. Let me stop your sharing quick. I know my sound effects. I got working. Can you stop sharing for me? Stop sharing.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No problem. I should
Let's
be.
see.
I should wise.
I promise you, I'm more savvy with real estate than I am with technology. It's not my strong point.
Hey, it's okay, my good man. We rocking out. All right. First of all, you, my audience, my people in the audience, my question on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate deal number 2? How you rate this deal? How do you rate this deal? Is you a 10 sweet cherry pie, a 7, an average, not a good deal? What's you're not sure? Oh man, good gracious. Cough on the air.
Need some water.
I got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ice and poll and share results. All right, we got some sweet cherry pies in there. We got some 7s, we got some 5s, we got some 3s, we got some 1s. Outstanding. I got a good mix. All right. All right, let's stop sharing. Next question I want to ask you is, if you could invest in this deal, how much money would you invest in this deal? Is it showing? Yeah. If you can invest in this deal, how much money would you invest in this deal? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right, let's stop and poll. And share results. All right, we got some please take my monies, got some 75s, got some $50,000, got some 25s, got some pass. Outstanding, no problem at all. All right, next question. Get a little serious now. Get a little serious. Here we go. Would you like someone to contact you about investing in this deal? Talk to them about it. Yes, no, maybe so. Let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, thank you. All right, let's go to, who want to go first? Joseph, you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
It was
Let's do
the
this.
applause button. Press the applause button. I didn't hear
Man,
nothing.
I know my applause not working tonight. I'm not so sure. It's not working right now.
All
God,
right, man.
technology.
I got lots to unpack here. So we got 9 years left on the deal. When was it originated?
Child some time, Joe. Don't get carried away.
All right.
Yep, December 2021 it was originated.
So, all right, I'll go quick. It was December 2021 is originated, and so they're exiting after 18 months. And so they're leaving you with 5 years left. Why are they selling so soon?
Quite frankly, they've executed their plan. They bought the property at 14.5 million. They're selling it for 32.3.
Nice.
Okay.
Enough said.
Joe.
But where did you show the comps on here?
No, I do have some ready though, so I can share them if you'd like.
Because I was looking, so on the T12, your average rents are $11.35, and then on your year one, you're going up to $12.45. So that's about a 9.5% bump. And then on year two, you go up another $100 or so to $13.81. So from current to year two, you're increasing rent $250 or about 20% in 2 years. And so that's why I really want to, and you're not doing anything. You're just, so I'm trying to understand where the rent growth is.
Yeah, well, you know what, Cornelius, do you mind if I share the screen for just a moment?
Go ahead.
Excellent. So let's take a peek here, and we have a couple of comps. Now, what I'll do is I'll pull up kind of some the broker had, but I was really going to use ones for our property management because those are our main ones that we were focusing on. But some of them overlap, and you can get some context. So you can see the subject property here is the one with the star, just to give some relationship with the geography. The closest ones you'll probably see Hidden Valley, that's number 5, and that's actually owned by the same seller, Villas at Decatur. So these are both very, very close proximity to the subject property. Aspen Woods a bit further out, number 10. That's actually our look-to comp, and you'll notice that is on the other side of the interstate. One of the things we like about it is that it's similar vintage to the property. It's 1973. It has very similar finishes in the units. It does not look as attractive aesthetically. And you could actually say the immediate submarket's probably a bit inferior to where the subject property is. So all those things factored in. And today's dollars, they're getting $13.30 on average. You'll notice on average, the comps are looking at $14.20. And again, that's today. So even if you drop the ones that are on the higher side of the comp list, because some of these may come down as we start to see rents go down, there's plenty here that are in the 13 the 12, the 13, $1,500 range where I feel pretty good being kind of in a median and not being overly aggressive on those targets.
Yeah, but you'll also notice the average square footage on those is also much larger. You're at 883 square feet, and those are over 1,000 square feet. So you got almost 200 square feet in size, and that's what's making up the difference on the whole dollar rents.
To some extent, I would agree with you, but I'm going to make a counter argument there. And I'm going to say this kind of flipping the switch and saying, if you're a tenant, how many tenants go in there and look at how much it costs per square foot versus the total rent? Now, if you have a floor plan that's significantly bigger, so let's say you have one that's 1,200 square feet and one that's 800, the tenants will realize that there's obviously something different with the size. But if they're looking at one that's, let's say, 884 square feet on average versus 1,085, they'll notice there's a difference. But how much of a difference are they really going to notice? For most of them, I don't think they're going to be that perceptive.
I mean, that's a 10 by 20 room. I mean, if you're missing a room, I think they would notice.
You might be right on that. I would argue the other perspective. I don't think most renters are that astute.
Okay. So let me go to the rest of my questions.
Yeah.
You said you've exited 8 deals now. What was your return to date on those 8 deals you've exited?
So the ones I know off the top of my head are the Atlanta ones. One of them was 19%. 2 of them were 37%. Those were part of a portfolio. And the other was right around 30. The others I'd have to look up, but they were all somewhere in that same range.
Okay. And those were bought and sold over what time cycle?
So the 19%, that was from September 2019 to May of 2022. The 37% ones were purchased in February of 2019, and they were sold also in April of 2022. And the other one, I'd have to get the exact dates, but somewhere in that same general range.
Okay, cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then looking at your T12, which I've never seen the full T12 put on a deal. Usually you'll condense it and just show the column there. But thanks for showing it, because since you did show it, we're able to see that there was no rent growth for the 12 months that they owned it. And you actually started seeing the vacancy was trending up 7%. They were burning off the loss to lease, but it looked like they were just swapping out their loss to lease for their vacancy. Just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so what I would attribute that more to anything is just operations, and that's not the seller's strong point. And I think that's part of the reason he's kind of getting out now. He's went in there, he's done what he wanted to do, and he's quite frankly got a healthy profit. With us, that's kind of more our strong point. I would rather take those operational values every day of the week. And that's something we look forward to going in there and improving.
And what did the seller do again on the property? I might have missed that part.
So they put 3.3 million into it. They upgraded 229 of the 236 units. They did put some money in the exteriors too, but they were very heavy on the interiors, and they really improved the aesthetics of the property.
Okay. And how much did they increase rents?
I don't know what their starting point was, so I can't tell you that honestly.
Okay, cool. This time, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Next up, ours Kevin, my good man.
Yes, sir. Great questions from Joseph. Great presentation, Charles. Built 1971. What are we considering class on this one?
See.
So C, you're talking maybe, could we get it up to a C plus in a B neighborhood, maybe? Where were we at in the neighborhood?
So I would tell you it's a C property in a C area, realistically. Now, what I would say is that aesthetically, I think it looks like a B. But let's be truthful. You can only put so much lipstick on a pig. If eventually you hit a certain age, you have enough plastic surgery, you're still going to be that age. And it's the same thing with the property. And it's a C property, so I don't think that's aesthetically it looks better than that, but it's still a C.
Okay, so
up there, I think you can call it a B for marketing purposes. It'll probably be called that.
yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say that right out of the gate. Like, hey, we're talking B plus, but I appreciate your candidacy here. No 3 bedrooms, right?
No.
Okay, so do we have to worry much about the school system, maybe with the 2s? But what's the ratio on the 2s? I really didn't see that.
So there's 131s and there's 106 2s.
Okay, So let's get concerned about the crime. What are we talking there in that area?
So in the immediate area, you do have some crime. Now, what I would tell you is the property is fully gated, so that's something that helps. The dusk to dawn lighting would also further help that, so we can just keep a handle on what's coming in the property and really keeping it secure. And what I would say is little by little, the area is starting to improve. You know, townhomes being developed right next to the property, I think is a major plus. You know, once you have a development like that open up, you're not going to see those people want to live in an area where crime is. So you'll start seeing more and more improvement. And if you go, you know, a little bit down the road, and when I'm saying a little bit down the road, probably a 10-minute drive and not even, you know, you have $500,000 homes, and some of that's starting to creep in this direction because a lot of those people are getting priced out.
Okay, sounds good.
Now-
Due diligence.
Yeah.
Just the roof's checked out, right?
So the roofs are our second biggest CapEx item. They did reshingle all the roofs, but we were unhappy with the work they did on the boots and the soffits. So we have $217,000 budgeted for that.
Okay, so that's covered. Plumbing, did we scope the lines and all that good stuff?
We did. We actually had 4 plumbers out there.
Okay, nothing came up.
No, unfortunately, you know, the issue with due diligence, I guess, is that you're scoping the underground lines, where the real issues come up sometimes is in the stacks, which you don't know until you get in there.
Yeah. Hopefully, the stacks are fine, but then again, it doesn't get much use.
Yeah.
Electrical, any aluminum? Were we good with the breakers and panels?
Good with the breakers and panels, no aluminum wiring, so we're good on that front.
Okay, what about HVAC? What type we got in the buildings there?
They have the split units in there.
Split units?
Yeah.
All brand new?
No, they replaced them as needed, but not brand new throughout now.
So what's the ratio? Can you give us an idea what the,
I'd have to get back to you on that. That I don't know off the top of my head.
all right, so like, I would think from the due diligence, you'd have an idea, like what do you have to do with the HVAC, like down the road, right? Because everything has a useful life, so,
Absolutely, no question on that.
yeah,
Yeah, I can definitely get that for you. Just don't know it off the top of my head.
okay. So with amenities, I know you talk about adding like a laundry room and they're not completely have connections in each unit, maybe just a few select?
So they have connections in all units throughout the property, but only appliances in a small handful of them. So many of the tenants there don't have appliances. They don't purchase their own appliances. So the idea was just to have a laundry room to make sure that we're able to offer that amenity to them.
So you might get a good bump on the NOI from the laundry?
I wouldn't say a good bump, but some bump, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not using it, they're gonna be dragging it down the street, right?
Yeah, correct.
What else you had for amenities? Like any covered parking, any reserve parking, anything?
There's not, but that's something we could potentially offer. So we didn't really see a ton of growth for the other income. I think that's something that the seller's doing a pretty good job monetizing. So most of the growth we saw being able to push just by closing the gap from where the property is in comparison to the comps.
Okay, I like cash flow, so I'd love to see some amenities added just to bump that up, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys got a good handle on that. The financing looks great. What about a prepayment penalty?
So a prepayment penalty would be yield maintenance, and that would be for up until the last 6 months of the loan, but yield maintenance prior to that.
So it's like a defeasance, you got like a schedule you gotta deal with?
Definitely not as bad as the Ephesians, but it'll heavily fluctuate based on where rates are at the current time. Being that this rate is at 3.48%, I'd have to imagine that the yield maintenance is quite low right now. But obviously that could change based on market conditions where we are in the future.
Okay, and then returns, did you say anything preferred or are they just like a normal straight?
Yeah, so there's preferred returns. So we have 3 different investor classes.
Right.
Common
I just
equity.
wanted to ask if they were preferred. I know you had that structure, but that's good. And then other than that, what about fees?
Fees, we have an acquisition fee, which is 3% of the purchase price. An asset management fee, which is 2% of the effective gross income. And a disposition fee, which is 1% of the sale price.
And did you have to negotiate much on the property management fee? I know it's a 4.
We didn't. Admittedly, I probably could have gotten it down to 3. I don't like negotiating the property management fee as much for the fact that even though they're a vendor, I like to look at them almost as a partner because I want them motivated to do a good job. I'd rather negotiate the other vendors and, incentivize the management company to go out there and perform.
So what kind of contract you signed with the third party?
Yep, 1 year term.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a clause in there you can fire them, right? If they're
Yeah, and
living up to
there's even a termination clause prior to that where we can get out, I believe it's 60 days notice. So we can get out if and that's with cause, but we can get out with cause prior to that.
okay. And they're gonna be always right there on the property, but anybody else boots on the ground in the group?
Not in the immediate area, no. For me, I'm in Charlotte, which is about 4 hours away. We have other team members throughout the Southeast, but we have an asset manager, a third-party asset manager we're hiring also, and she's right in Kennesaw, which is not far from there.
Okay, it's always good to have somebody nearby, right? So you
Yeah.
can say, hey, get over to the property and check this out. All right, man, I'm done. No further questions, like Joe says, and I won't come back. Now let's vote over to Charlie.
Outstanding, my good man. Charles, you ready, my good man? Are you ready, Charles? You muted. You're muted, Charles.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand this. It's an assumption.
Right,
First off, this is located at 2571 Candler, correct?
correct, yep.
Okay, so, and according to page 17, your exit strategy is what, to hold it for 5 years or something, or?
Yeah, so the whole period would be 3 to 7 years in the PPM, but the underwriting shown on a 5-year model.
So it's 3 to 7 years.
Right,
And now why are you coming up? Oh, let me get to that in a moment.
yeah,
Let's talk about this assumption.
sure.
And, I think I spoke to your partner one time before on the predecessor to this program about another deal he was doing which also wasn't an assumption. So tell me about the terms, because I see on page where is it? Right here on page 11. You're showing interest-only payments from acquisition through 2025.
Correct.
But the loan term goes until 2032. I'm
Mhm.
just curious because I looked this up on CoStar. Is the loan with Midland Loan Services?
No, it's with Arbor.
It's with Arbor. Okay, so
Yeah.
then they paid off that one. And so they took on a new 7-year term.
Well, no, so it was really a 10-year term. So they took it out in December 2021. And then the term matures in January 2032.
Okay, are you buying, do you know the name? Who's the current owner? Is it,
Off the top of my head, I think the entity name is Park Valley Apartments LLC.
okay, it's not Seresto Property?
Yeah,
Services?
that's the true owner if you're looking like in CoStar.
Yeah. Yeah, because they had a little trouble with the property back in 2018. Where
So that may
actually,
have been a prior owner that they acquired the property in 2020.
oh, they did. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that would probably explain the cost basis they got it for.
2020. Did they take a supplemental loan on this one?
No, so initially they acquired the property with bridge financing and then they refinanced with the agency in December of 2021 after they executed the bulk of the CapEx.
Okay, because it's still showing as if there are 2 loans on the property. So I'm wondering if they did a supplemental to bring it up to 80%, which is what you guys are taking it over for, right?
Right.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if you guys these guys have already done a supplemental on this one.
So they haven't done a supplemental. It is an option we would have in the future.
Okay,
So
you
we could
guys have that
potentially cash
option.
out some of the equity at that time and look at that as a play down the line.
Charles, can you see what their previous rents were?
The numbers on the rents are pretty much in line with the market. So I'm not seeing a real value play there. You do say in there that the owner currently has, how did you put it? Let me just turn to your page here. You said that there's some room left. Oh, here it is. Current ownership has nearly completed a full value add program, giving new ownership the opportunity to bring rents up to market comps. but in your analysis, you didn't bump, I don't see any bump in the rents for any value add proposition. So I wonder how many of those units, 236 units are still needing the value play done.
7.
7?
Yeah, so they've upgraded 229 of them, so there's 7 that still need the physical
Yeah.
work in there.
All right, so that's why you're showing 0% increase in the.
So let me add some clarity in that. So with that underwriting tool, the annual rent escalator up top, the reason that's 0 is that's just like the organic rent bump. The value that we build right into the average monthly rent number, so that's why.
All right. All right, if you can keep this thing, if you've got that much time on a loan.
That number's not even correct, because if you mathematically subtract the numbers like I did, you get 10%, not 2.
7 units.
Right. And again, what I was saying is, yeah, so that's just that's the annual escalation. So the value bump's actually included in there. It's not factored into that number up top. So the value is spread out over years 1 and 2, and that's in the average monthly rent numbers. And then the escalation also starts factoring in year 2, and then the escalation is the only bump in year 3, 4, and 5.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reclaim my time from Mr. Bramante. So I get my 5 minutes back.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Are you kidding? You rambled on for 17. I got it. I watched it. Okay, so listen, the assumption, I'm getting different numbers from what you're saying makes sense. I hope if you're right, okay, this is a good one. If you don't have that length of the term on the assumption, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, and that's okay. That we feel very confident on, because we have the loan agreement at this point. So
Yeah,
glad to share that if anybody's
yeah, I would assume. I'm just wondering why, because all the other information on the CoStar report is accurate, except for the debt numbers. And that's the thing that I'm concerned with. I mean, obviously you got to go through the whole. What do they have on reserve replacements right now?
So the reserve replacement there at 225 per unit.
Oh, no. How much do they have reserved?
That I'd have to check the escrow balance. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, because that could be a real deal killer.
Right. So we have a healthy amount of reserves anyway. I mean, with the escrows, we're factoring off the top of my head something like $1 million that we have included in there.
I know, but that's the worst part about assumptions.
Yeah.
Is the reserve replacement. And that's why my letter of intent that I give all my clients, it says the seller has to turn over the reserve replacements to the buyer or spend them down to 0. Because if you're doing an assumption, you're doing the seller a huge favor by taking over that property at those terms. Now, granted, you've got some pretty good terms here.
Right.
But nevertheless, this guy can't get out of this deal unless he finds somebody else who's going to take on that defeasance and the yield maintenance penalties.
Right.
And he ought to be kissing your big white behind all the way to the bank. And the thing is, if he's got a huge reserve replacement and all of a sudden you got to show up at the closing table to replace it out of your own money, if you did a new money purchase, if you did a new mortgage, you would never have to deal with that. It's only when you do an assumption. That's why I get the guy to spend it down to 0. So you don't have to show up with a $250,000 check,
Okay.
which will kill your cash on cash returns. So that's, if you've got all those things taken care of, that's the, all the other things seem right. Listen, you're in a rising cap rate environment right now. You got 7 years, you might be able to survive it. You're very high on the LTV. So you're cutting it close. You don't have a whole lot of room. This is not a really great value add, even though you say it is. It's not a real great value add. The thing is, you hope that the market keeps rising, and that's not what we investors do. We find value adding deals and we unleash the value add. So I don't know. This one's tight. This one's tight for me. So, yeah. Sorry, Chaz.
Right. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Thank you so much. So now we got the survey, we got that going on. So let's do one thing before we go. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Mike, you still here? All right, so that's it. So once again, I will send you a survey because I want to know how can we improve the show. We'll be here again next Thursday. If you want to present your deal, go to email me or go to MultiFamily Deal Room. Best place to present a deal. I'll email it to you as well. But now our next portion is our breakout room. So you can and you'll see how each person will be in their own breakout room. And I will see you all there. Stay from